and we will see how they are called. So the proprietary, so how there are many ways to integrate the services. Some is proprietary implementation, point-to-point approach. This is an example of proprietary implementation. Vendor-specific implementation, like Tuxedo is the example of using this. So here it's a consistent. Then there came a concept of CORBA. That was a common object request broker architecture. That was also an old way of ways of to integrate the service. And now is web services and now SCS style, that is service component style. So, and we will see what they actually mean in this sense. We know what a web service is. The web service is the implementation of a service using some of the standards of WSDL and XML. Web service always gets the request in form of XML and sends the response also as XML. Okay. So designing with an SOA approach. Designing with an SOA approach involves aligning IT with business needs, because that is the main concept of SOA. That your IT should meet the requirements of your business. That is what their needs have to be aligned. Identifying services that perform functionality as part of business process, or building a service portfolio. So when I say building a service portfolio, what I mean is I have to design the XML structures, their schema documents, and we will see what XML and XSDs are, but they are the most critical part of the services. Okay. Then specifying the interfaces using WSDL. Then selecting the choice of implementation. You can implement the services either using Java Web Services or adapters, and we will see how easier it is to build a simple web services. We can expose any functionality of any system as a web services using the adapters. Writing the BPEL codes using the SCA composite applications, .NET, PL SQL, all can be exposed as the services. So let's take about what is a look project of when you go for a project. What is the basic things that is there in when you are implementing a SOA project? Okay, this is a very general concept, and most of the systems are like this. So when you go for a project, the first thing is you first design what the services are. Okay, so these services can be designed using adapters, .NET, Java, PL SQL, any other thing. So that means first thing is you define what services are. Some of the projects ask you to register all the services that you have created with the UDDIs. UDDIs, like I said, are like yellow pages. So like if I have to find the address of a plumber in my society or near my home, I go to yellow page and find the address. Same thing is the work of a UDDI. Here the services are registered. Depending upon the content that I need to do, I get the proper URL or the physical location where my web service is based. Okay. Then comes the concept of mediators. So mediators do only major three things. They route the data, they transform the data, they virtualize the data. What does it mean? Let me take an example of Siebel. This simple example. Siebel has the data, is sending the order data, and I have to send into 3 ERP systems. One is a SAP system, one is Oracle app system, another may be a PeopleSoft system or JD Edwards, whatever. Siebel has to send data to 3 different places. Whenever the order is created, you create an order in Siebel, it goes into 3 systems. So if this is the case, what I am doing is going from one place and sending it to 3 different places is called a routing. I am routing the data from one place to another. So if I use the SOA, and in that I use a mediator, mediator helps me in doing it. Okay, this is what mediator does. It sends the data to different places. How is a different question, and we will see how it is, how when we come to the mediators. But at this moment, we will only concentrate on what mediators have the capability to do. So what they are used for? They are used for routing the data, taking from a source and sending it to different destinations. Then I said it routes the data, it transforms the data. Siebel sends the data in form of XML. Obviously, here also the data are all sent in form of different XMLs. What does it mean? Suppose Siebel is sending order data. So here every order has something called an order ID. The word is order ID in Siebel. But SAP doesn't have anything called an order ID. They call it order number. Oracle Apps has something called order num, and PeopleSoft has something called only order field. Okay, so that means I have to map order ID to the order number, order num in Oracle Apps, and order this. So that means these are, in a way, they are all different fields, right? So if this is the case, I need some place to map it where I will say, hey, this is called, this order number is order number is order ID in PeopleSoft or whatever, you know. So this type of thing, if that has to be done, is called the transformation. Obviously, I said these are all XML, so and these will have different ways of accepting or different XML formats. So what mediator does it transforms or changes from one XML format to another, and this concept is called transformations. How the transformations are done? They are done using the XSLTs, okay, or the the XML style sheets, some people call it. So they are used to do it, and we will see how to get all this. Then we will again create this simple scenario. Okay. Then the concept changes. I see what a routing means. Routing, sending the data. Transformation means converting one format of XML into the another different format of the XML suitable for the end system. Then comes another system that what it does is it does the virtualization. What does the virtualization mean? Virtualization means source system and destination system should not know what the source is. Okay, that means apps doesn't know that data is being sent from Siebel. Only the Soa knows it. So why this is important? Tomorrow I may go out of Siebel and I may put another system called another CRM system called Salesforce. Still my system will behave like this. That is why I said Soa used portability, loosely coupled system, right? So this is what the Soa mediators are used for. They route, they transform, and they virtualize. Then comes the concept of people. So if I have some business logic to be done, right, like I want to do some type of business logic, so which requires a lot of interaction with different services and then the BPEL is used. And we call that BPEL is an orchestrating engine. Here is the word called orchestrating the services using BPEL. So the word is orchestrate. So orchestrate word has come from the word called orchestra. Everybody has seen an orchestra. So if you have seen an orchestra, you must have noticed that there are musicians and there is a person who is standing in the middle who directs them. Okay. So every musician has the ability to play independently, but his tune, when he is sitting in an orchestra, the central authority or the central person directs it, and they all play together to make some type of good music. So this is a word, the example of orchestrate. And from there, same thing does the BPEL does. BPEL only orchestrates the services. What I mean is, let's talk about a business process that we just decided. We said that I went through a bank, I give my account number is checked or validated, and depending upon that, my system is debited or credit. So I know debit account is one service. Then there is a concept of validate credit card or account number. So here is my SOA or BPEL. So what happens is client sends the data, account information to the BPEL. BPEL calls the validate credit card service, gets the response back. Depending upon the response, debit amount sufficient balance is available. It goes and calls the debit service from it, so that else it does something. So if you noticed here, this is governing the whole business process. So what BPEL does is BPEL itself creates a service and it directs the other services to work together so as to perform a business process. Though this is an independent service, this is independent services, but when I use the BPEL, I am able to orchestrate into one business process, and that's what BPEL is all about. So throughout our, our training, I will be demonstrating and always be proving it that BPEL only orchestrates. It doesn't do anything else. It only orchestrates. Then there are web applications which you can think of a Java code, portal or anything which call this, and our whole systems are built. So this is a very generic project, concept of implementing the SOA. So any questions anybody has for this? Let's take a time and talk on this MSQ. And I know CBEL has the capability to read from a JMSQ. I can do that. This is also integration, right? BIs are more about getting the reports out of it, right? But if I have, but what is the disadvantages of having these type of systems? The one thing is, if it's a very small business process, it works. But suppose you have the customer informations, or you have a big some logic, or a very heavy integration where you need to send lot of data, right? Or you have to do churn lot of data, or So in these cases, these type of you have to write lot of customizations to do that. So in these places, what SOA does is SOA using all your it's all of its components. You can always send to SOA.